Believe it or not, I let my sewing machine do the quilting on this quilt. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs for Monday, July the 30th, 2018. Summer's half over here in Canada, or at least it feels like it. Actually, technically, summer is not over in Canada until September 21st. That's the first day of fall. But for most Canadians, because of how the school year runs, the kids are off in July and August. By the end of August, we're thinking of fall. So we really only have 2 months that we consider to be summer, and now we're halfway through those 2 months. So we've had some good weather this summer, and that's great. So we've got to enjoy every second of it that we can get. Okay, so what's new? Well, I finally finished my latest quilt. It's the one behind me, and I showed it yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live. I'm not going to get off my stool here, but if you want to see the details of how I constructed this quilt, and I had some problems because I'm trying new technology. As you know, I bought a very elaborate sewing machine that embroiders in the whole bit and cost an arm and a leg. And it'll also quilt, do the physical quilting on the quilt itself. And you can't see it in the video, but this is all what they call stippled, which is a continuous pattern all over the quilt. And it took some time to do it, and it took some time to learn how to do that, but it worked really well. Yes, I had some problems with the borders and a few other problems, but I've sort of documented all those errors on a YouTube video under The Idiot Quilter, a section of my channel, and it's episode 21, so you can check that out. It's a short video, but it will show you the pitfalls that I fell into as I was creating this quilt. But after all of those, I have to say I think I kind of like it. It turned out all right. So now I think I have the confidence to start working on the queen size bedspread quilt that I've been talking about and planning for quite a while. So I think today I'm going to start going through my material, see what I need, maybe even start the cutting process for that and get on with it. But anyways, so that one's done. So that makes that quilt 10 since about January. So I also, and it started out as an experiment, but I really liked it. It turned out I made a table runner. And this is the table runner. Hard to get it all in the shot. But you see the feathers, the embroidered feathers, actually they're quilted feathers. And I did those on the brand new sewing machine as well. Again, this whole thing was a bit of an experiment to get used to using the machine. The yellow little border on this end and on this end are both quilted, or not quilted, are both embroidered with the new machine. And the material I used for this was just basically material that I had laying around in my stash. And it grew into this runner. So I was thinking of giving this away as a gift, but I like it so much I'm keeping it. And it's upstairs on my dining room table, and it looks really good there. So I was really happy with that. Okay, so those were the things I was working on last week. And I've got a link below to Stephen and Walter Live where I talk a little bit more about that quilt. And also, just as an aside here, we changed the location of Stephen and Walter this past week. We decided to do it from our patio. Just to give a little different perspective. Doing it in the kitchen gets a little boring after a while. So we have decided that we're going to do Stephen and Walter Live from various locations within and around our house. So next week we're thinking about doing it in our rec room. And we give you a little tour as well when we do these. It's still a little awkward to do those kind of things because of our technology setup, and I'm still looking for a program that's going to allow me to switch cameras and isn't going to cost me an arm and a leg. I did find another one the other day, and I tried it out yesterday a little bit on my own, and still not happy with it. Part of the problem is the computer I was hooked into, I don't think has enough power to operate something like that. And actually, ideally, what I'm looking for anyways is a program that I can switch between iOS devices like my iPad and my iPhone, because that would give us more flexibility to, wander a little around while we're doing especially Stephen and Walter Live. I'm still looking. They do exist, but they cost big bucks. And it seems the trend these days is not to have an initial one-time cost, but to put you on a subscription basis for this, where you're paying them monthly or yearly for it. And I really don't want to get caught up in something like that, especially when I don't think I will use it that frequently. But if anybody ever hears of any programs they think might solve this problem for me, let me know and I'll investigate them. Okay, so what else is in the list below? Well, we have the Idiot Quilter episode 21. I've already mentioned that, and that's listed below. And we have the YouTube channel of the week. The YouTube channel of the week is the Quilting Marine, and this I like because it's a little unusual for a couple of reasons. It's not so unusual that this YouTube channel is about quilting, because of course you know my love for quilting. However, the fact that this is by a gentleman as opposed to a lady, which is nice. I mean, there's Man Sewing and a couple of others out there, but those ones, like Man Sewing, is actually a site that's associated with a company. Whereas the Quilting Marine, he's just an individual like myself, not really associated with any kind of company. He's just putting up videos to show his love of quilting. He's very active, it seems, in his quilting community. And the other thing that makes it rather unique is that he is an ex-Marine, a retired Marine. You don't necessarily associate quilting, one, with men, but two, with men in the armed forces. And he does a lot of charity types of quilts as well. So I've just started watching him, and I find his videos kind of entertaining. I think his wife helps him out with them as well, and she's kind of fun to listen to as well. It's very down home in its production, very chatty, very friendly. And I think I'm going to send him a message and let him know how much I appreciate his YouTube channel. So you might want to check out the Quilting Marine. Okay, so I hope you'll support that particular YouTube channel. As I said, it's kind of homey in its production value, but who am I to criticize that? And I'm not criticizing it. But this is how creators on YouTube continue to bring out content to everybody, is if we know there are people out there watching. So, go and support. I hope you support or at least check them out, all the YouTube channels that I preview here for you. Okay, in the list below as well, we have a product demonstration that I did a video about last week, and you may have already seen it. It's called Easy Marble by Marabu, and basically it's a product that allows you to marbleize things. And now, I've used marbleizing products before. This one is not bad, but it works a little differently from what I've tried before. So if you check out that link that I have below for Easy Marble, you'll see and hear my comments about that product. And I have the book of the week that I'm going to be showing you in just a few minutes, and another link to a very interesting YouTube video showing you how you can dress up a handbag. This link was sent to me by, I think it was one of my Stephen and Walter regular viewers, and on here Jody, and I checked it out, and yeah, it's kind of a cool idea. I'll talk more about that in inspiration tips of the week when we get there. So that brings us to what's pissing me off this week. Okay, it's government again, but this is specifically the post office. Now, I think I may have talked one time way back about post office and how we all love to hate the post office in whatever country you're in, I'm sure. But in Canada, they make life completely miserable. They advertise all the time that they're all about customer service. They're always competing against companies like Amazon that have their own delivery service, and all of the carriers like FedEx and UPS and all those ones. But there's a reason why those other services are used by people. A lot of it has to do with cost. Now, I could go on for days talking about the horrible price gouging you get from some of those carriers, but the post office isn't much better. If it's not in a little tiny white envelope, it's going to cost you more than the cost of a stamp. Stamps in our country are $1 a piece. No wonder the card industry is dying. Who's got that kind of money? I mean, thinking about Christmas time, for example, I don't send out Christmas cards anymore, and I think you've heard me mention that. I send out electronic Christmas cards, that kind of thing. Reason being is, if I was to send 20 people a Christmas card for something that basically people put on display during Christmas, and when they're cleaning up their Christmas decorations, they just throw it in the garbage anyways, it costs me $1 a shot. That's 20 bucks. And why is it that expensive? Yes, you got to pay your workers, you have equipment, and the whole bit. However, the post office is going the way of the dodo, and they know this. Thanks to electronic services, you know, we communicate by e-this and e-that. When we want to order something, we order it online, and oftentimes these online companies will ship it through a courier to you. Amazon, of course, is just killing the post office because their service is so good. I mean, you order something on Amazon, and even if you don't have Prime, which is, you know, their more deluxe service, you pay for that. I know, I have it. I got it to try it, and I do like it. They often tell you it's going to take 3 to 4 days, standard shipping. Oftentimes you'll get it in less than that. Not always, but it's always very, very fast, very efficient, at least in my experience. So why klutz around with our postal service here in Canada? Because they are not efficient at all, and they're expensive. Now, I'll give you an example of why I'm pissed off with the post office this week, besides all those things I've just mentioned. So, as you know, how would you not know? I've harped on it for so long. My mother's in the hospital and she's waiting for a nursing home bed. Okay, fine. So I've started putting some things into place for her. Like, you know, I've canceled her cable TV at her apartment because she's not going back there. She's not living there. Why should she be paying $80-some a month for something that's not being used? Slowly but surely, I'll be canceling most of the services that come to her apartment as time goes by. But one of the services that I had to cancel, I didn't really cancel, it's rerouting, is her mail. Now, she doesn't get much mail because I look after all of her finances, so all her bills are paid electronically. Okay, another thing that the post office probably doesn't like, because every company wants to go paperless these days when they send you a bill, and that's just fine by me. I don't have a problem with that. So the only thing my mother really gets in her mailbox is junk mail. And occasionally she'll get a card or something from someone she knows. Okay, that's fine. So I decided to reroute her mail to my address. So I signed up for a year of this service. It's not cheap. They charge you almost $100 to reroute the mail for a year. And now I'll have everything come to me. And like I said, there's very little that comes to my mother, so fine. However, when I was in the process of doing this, and you can do it all online, there was a form I had to fill out. Okay, no problem. Of course I had to fill out a form. But I had to have her sign for this. Now, I have power of attorney, so I have a signing authority. But no. The post office does not recognize that. I had to physically fill out a form that I printed offline, and they give me this barcode as well. And I'm supposed to take this, get my mother to sign it, fill it all out, bring about 12,000 pieces of identification to the post office, sign and date something on this form in front of the post office representative to get this all sorted out. Okay, so I went off, I filled out the form, I took it to my mother, she signed it, I took it to the post office, and we don't have post offices anymore, really, in Canada, not like we had, you know, 20 years ago or whatever. What we have are postal outlets. They're usually located in drugstores called Shoppers Drug Mart. It's a chain. And they're at the back of the store, and there's a postal worker there and a counter, and they're supposed to look after all your needs. Now, I'm lucky. The lady that runs the local postal outlet to me, she's very knowledgeable. She's very efficient. She knows what she's doing, and she's good with advice. She tells you, you know, helps you out with the cheapest way to ship something or to send something, or all the ins and outs. She knows all of that kind of stuff. So I go and take my form, all my 12,000 pieces of ID, the whole bit, and I get there, and yeah, she looks at the form. She didn't have me sign anything. She says, "You did this online?" Yep. I think she looked something up on her computer. Bang. That was it. I didn't need to get that form signed by my mother, regardless of what it said. She said, "Nah, you could have just come in. Not a problem." Now, it's not because she recognizes me, like we're not bosom buddies or anything like that, but I'm in there frequently enough that, you know, she gets to know her clients. It's just, no, you didn't, it doesn't matter. That's all looked after. You did it online. Okay. So I could have saved a trip. I could have saved filling out forms, printing out forms and that, if the post office had told me that. But no, no, no. They want to make your life full of bureaucracy and make it really complicated. Okay, I get it that they're doing that for security's sake, okay? Like, they don't know me from Adam nor my mother, so, you know, it could be anybody walking in and try to redirect somebody's mail to their house. You know, checks come in the mail, things like that. Well, they used to come in the mail. Now they're even trying to get rid of checks in our country. But it's just the frustration of the whole thing. But there's more. So in this whole process of trying to, you know, eliminate services that my mother has in the apartment that she's not going to use, one of those services is her Lifeline. Lifeline is a system whereby, you know, if she falls, the system goes off. They ask her if she needs assistance through a two-way speaker thing, and they'll send out EMS, they call us, whatever. Great, fine. No problem with that service at all. That was worth the 65 some dollars and change that my mother's paying a month for that. For peace of mind, more than anything. So I called them up to cancel the service, and I asked them about the equipment, because there's a pendant and there's a box that attaches to the phone line. That's the two-way speaker and the whole bit. And they were good. They turned around and said, "Okay, we will send you in the mail, and you'll get it in probably about 5 business days, a return label and instructions on how to return the equipment." And they said, "And don't worry, you don't have to pay for shipping it back to us on that mail thing that we're going to send you. It's already looked after. You just need to find a shoebox or something to wrap it up, throw it in, seal it up, and put the sticker on, away it goes." Okay, can't be much easier than that, right? So I got the mailing list, or the mailing sticker and the whole bit. I found a box, I wrapped everything up, took it down the same day that I took the form for my to reroute my mother's mail. I took the box in. So the postal clerk there, she looks at it, she gets out her tape measure, she starts measuring it. That's how they figure out their shipping costs. She has a little tape measure, she measures the dimensions, the width, the height, the depth, all that kind of stuff, and plugs it into the computer, and the computer says, "You owe us $3,000 for this." And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have a battle here. I'm going to have a battle, because for some reason she's going to look at that sticker and tell me, "No, that sticker just gives the address. It doesn't do anything else. It's going to cost you, you know, $50 to ship this sucker back." And then I'd be upset. Well, I guess I was expecting the worst from the post office, because it was the post office. But no, she says, "Oh, no, she says, I have to do that. She just put it in the system. But no, it's all covered. It's okay. Looked after. You don't have to worry about a thing." Okay, bonus, great. All right, that's fine. So that's one time when the post office worked for me. But most of the time, it doesn't. Like, how we get our mail, it doesn't come to our door. Okay, I remember the days, I'm dating myself now, we used to have, you know, right to your door mail delivery every morning, every day. No, well, it's been a long time now. It's been probably 30 years. 25 anyways. The post office decided to become more efficient, and they put these postal boxes, these bank of boxes, somewhere in your subdivision. Ours happens to be about a block away or so. And that you go to the box and you pick up your mail. But you see, they have third-party people delivering the mail. These are people that have these as part-time jobs, because that's the other thing the post office is doing. It's getting rid of all its full-time employees so they don't have to pay benefits and pensions and things like that, and hiring part-timers. And these are people with a car that pick up the mail from the central area, and they go to these boxes and sort it all out, put it in the box. Problem is, those people change on a frequent basis. So you never know when you're going to get your mail during the day. So it's our latest one here is now, it's usually the middle of the afternoon by the time they get around to delivering to us. The one before that was sometime in the morning. You never know when the mail's going to arrive. And when it does, it may not be your mail. That's the other thing. Apparently the people they hire can't read. I've gotten mail, and it's not just like one number off, or, you know, they took a quick glance at it and, you know, my last name starts with a B, they put somebody else's name that starts with a B in there. No, it's not just that. Some of this mail doesn't even, it's for an area in my city miles away from me. The number is completely different. The address, street name is completely different, and they can't get it sorted out properly, and they don't care. The other thing they do is, if there's small parcels, now there's two little compartments in this bank of boxes for parcels. There's one that's about this big, and then there's one a little bigger. And if they can't get, well, first of all, they can only put one parcel in a box at a time. So let's say two people got a package that would fit in one of those compartments. One of them is going to get the compartment. I don't know what the other one gets with it, because they can't put somebody else's parcel in the same box, because somebody might pick up the wrong parcel by mistake, probably, maybe on purpose. I don't know. So what do? They do deliver it to your door. Sometimes. If it's a small enough parcel, they can use, well, they just lay it on the doorstep. We don't have a mailbox outside of our house. Why would we? They don't put mail in it. Actually, the only thing is put in a mailbox, and the reason we don't have one is flyers and things that are hand delivered, and you get those all crunched into your mailbox, and it still doesn't work. They still stick them between the doors, or sometimes they just throw them on the doorstep, and then they blow around in the wind and litter everywhere. But I digress. So they will kind of deliver it to the doorstep, but usually they don't ring the bell or anything. Or if they do, they run up to the door, go ding, 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 ding on the doorbell, and run away again. Run away, run away. And you look around, nobody there, and you look down on the ground, and there's your package or something like that. Or they leave a note, an official note, telling you that you can pick your package up after 5 o'clock on that day at the postal outlet that's nearby to you. Okay, fine. Why they do that sometimes and sometimes not, I don't get it. I get it if they need a signature. And that's rare, but sometimes they need a signature and you're not home, so I get it. So you gotta go to the post office to pick it up. But many times they've left this note and I've had to go to the postal outlet to pick it up. Yet they were on my doorstep, and they stick it on the doorstep. So what's the big deal that I wasn't home for it at that point in time? They're never there to know whether I'm home or not. They're gone before I get to the door. And I'm not slow. Okay? So I don't get it. There just doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason for what they do. Don't ever question them. Oh no. No, 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 no. You do not ask the post office questions. You do not criticize things. Because you see, and a lot of places have this now. You'll actually see signs in places that, you know, swearing, aggressive behavior, raising your voice, giving them the finger, looking at them cross-eyed, that kind of thing, they will not tolerate. And you will not be waited on. Excuse me. Now, yes, I get it. Okay, don't kill the messenger kind of a thing. However, that is just indicative of the kind of service you get from them. You know, they can't do too little. Except for the lady down at my local outlet. She's very knowledgeable, very friendly. Actually, sometimes she's too friendly. She wants to know what's in your package. Not for security reasons, out of curiosity. We've had conversations before about what I've got in the mail. But, so she's a little bit of a busybody. But, you know, so what? I'll tell her. It's not like I'm getting anything illegal or anything like that. You know, big deal. It's usually scrapbooking supplies or quilting supplies or something like that. So, but it's just, you know, and you even, we in North America even have a term for postal people who go AWOL and go nuts. Back, way back, before it became a regular thing in North America to shoot other people, okay? I'm sure you've heard about the Toronto shootings of late this summer. Not nice, not good. Talked a little bit about that yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live. There was some postal person in the United States back, this is going back 30, maybe 40 years ago, and he went nuts, got a gun, and shot a lot of people. And so they called it, now they made the term going postal. Okay. Yeah, I could see how you could get upset sometimes being in the public service and that kind of thing. People can be rude, that kind of a deal. But nevertheless, now it's all like, yeah, they can't do too little for you. Sometimes I say I'd like to go postal on them. Just saying. But anyways, now I'm getting off topic here. So why am I pissed off at the post office? I guess I'm pissed off because it's just another one of those government agencies in our country that can do too little for you. And lately, with my mother and the whole situation, I've been dealing with a lot of government people and government agencies. And it's the same story right across the board. Okay, I guess I shouldn't complain because we still live in one of the best countries in the world. Someone asked me yesterday on Stephen Walter Live, you know, what is it about Canada that we like or that kind of thing? Well, it's Canada. And although we might bitch and gripe about it, it's still a great country to live in. For now. I don't know, lately, all the shootings in Toronto and things like that, it's making me a little worried about where we're going. But anyways, again, I digress. So, Postal Service, I have a feeling it's probably the same all around the world. Just one of those things we just get used to and have to put up with because basically there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, so new products. What have I bought? Well, the new colors of Oxide inks came into my scrapbooking store and I've got them right here. I love the Oxide inks. I haven't even taken them out of the package yet. Yeah, this is pretty much typical of me these days. I get these new things and I don't get them out of the package. I've got a lot of things I got to get out of the package, but there's 8 new colors and I got them all. And now I like to have an ink applicator, you know, the little round ones from Tim Holtz, one for each color. And I have racks, and I showed you a couple of videos ago when I did what's in my drawers. I showed you the special little spinner racks that I use to hold all my little ink applicators. Okay, I need another one. Actually, I need the extension one. You can make them tiered. So I went looking for it. Apparently, Ranger has stopped making them. And I looked around. I found one on Amazon for $200 and some odd. They usually cost about $8.99. Okay, that's one thing about Amazon. They will put some ridiculous prices on things, especially things that are discontinued. Yeah, it's not worth spending that kind of money on. But I've looked around and looks like I'm out of luck on this, so I'll have to find something else to hold these in. Maybe I should be looking around in little antique stores or something like that, because basically the Tim Holtz craft spinner, they call it, is like those old time, you know, in offices back, you know, 60, 70 years ago, clerks would have like special stamps they would put on, like invoice paid or overdue or canceled and that kind of thing. And they'd keep all their stamps for those kind of things in these little spinners that hold them. Well, that's what Tim Holtz modeled his after. So maybe I can find a vintage one somewhere. Of course, probably now they're considered a modern antique, and so they're probably worth even more than what Amazon's trying to sell the extension thing for. I don't know. But anyways, I may still keep looking. It's not a biggie. It's, you know, is it going to change the price of rice in China? No. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. But anyways, I got those. And then I got some special rulers. Now these are for quilting. Of course they're for quilting. And they're designed by Angela Walters. There's others in, she has more in this set. I just bought these two. And this is for something called ruler foot quilting, where essentially you have a foot for your sewing machine that's a little thicker, and these are about 1/4 inch thick. And what you do is you put them down, you put the foot up against it, and away you go. You sew, and you can do curvy things and all kinds of patterns. So in a sense, it's a form of free motion quilting, except you've got these as a guide. I've been having some fun with these, practicing with them, and they do work very efficiently. So I want to go to the store later this week, and I want to buy a couple of more to give me a little bit more variety. They're not bad in price. They were about 28 bucks a piece. It's a bit pricey, but you know, they're good quality, they're strong. They're made by a very reputable company called Creative Grids. I have other quilting rulers by them because they have this little dots on here that keep it from sliding around your material. And I've been playing a little bit more with free motion quilting, and I'm finding, especially with this new machine, that actually it's very easy, well, easier than what I was doing before to do free motion quilting. So I got those. I want to get a few more this week. And speaking of free motion quilting, Walter has been bitten by the quilting bug. Well, not the piecing one so much, but he wants to try free motion quilting. So we moved my older machine. Now when I say older, you know I've only had that other sewing machine for about 3 months. And you know, I had it set up in my sewing room near my other machine, but frankly, how many machines are you going to use at one time? So I said, well, tell you what, let's move this sewing machine, make space up in your office. We'll put that machine up there, and I'll make you a quilt sandwich so that you can practice and whatnot, and away we go. Because I'm thinking, you know, this would be a lot of fun. Sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable on this stool. For some reason today, it's making my legs go to sleep. It's my positioning. Anyways, I think it would be kind of cool if I could get Walter to quilt as well, and we could quilt together. He's not that interested in learning how to piece, but he's very creative, and if he masters free motion quilting, I'll piece the quilts, he can quilt them. We'll start a new video channel, call it the Quilting Guys or something like that. I don't know. This is what's going on in my imagination. He hasn't touched the sewing machine since I moved it up to his room. That was only a couple of days ago. So, you know, everything on his time, because I have learned over the years that when Walter wants to do something, he will do it, but it may not be, whereas I get right into things and go bang. He tends to have to let things sort of ferment. I don't know what term would be. He doesn't rush right into it. I'm a little more impulsive. So anyways, sure, fine. And he'll probably learn things about that sewing machine that I didn't know about, because I'm not a very patient person when it comes to technology in terms of reading documentation. I like to play first and use the manual as when I can't figure it out as a last resort. Whereas he's probably a little bit more, he will go through things, and he usually is quite meticulous about going through things. And so he'll probably learn about things that that sewing machine can do that I had no clue about whatsoever. I'm on sort of on a need to know basis when it comes to things. I'll say to myself, I wonder if it can do this. I'll try it, and then I'll look in the manual to see if it can do this. He, on the other hand, will sort of read the manual, digest it bit by bit, and go from there. It's probably his whole background as a computer programmer that involves that. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, so ruler foots. Okay, what do I want? What's the book of the week? Okay, this one I've had for quite a while. And right now, seems to be into this. There's lots of videos on YouTube. Mike Deacon's been doing this a lot too, making journals. And back a few years ago, just after I retired, so it's like 6 years ago, I started making hardcover journals. And I was really interested in the whole art of bookbinding. And I've kind of let that slip. I haven't done much in that again. And well, this is one of the books that I found very inspiring. It's called Book Arts, Beautiful Bindings for Handmade Books. So it's got all the different kinds of bindings you can use, and it's by a lady called Kaye Seckler. And I have a link to this book from Amazon. It's amazon.ca, and good price right now on amazon.ca, because I originally paid, and I can't find it on here, but I know, oh, no, that's not it either. No price on this. Isn't that interesting? I imagine that I paid for this probably well over 20 bucks. It's on Amazon.ca for $11.77. But it's got lots of really good illustrations showing you. So it's great for inspiration, but it's also different styles of books and bindings. On the spine for the stitching, and there's some really nice bindings that really set your book off, and they're not difficult to do. So if you want to get into book binding as an art, this might be a good jumping off point for that kind of thing, especially at $11.77. Really, I don't think you can go wrong at that price. So check it out. I put the link for this book in the show notes. Okay, so another inspiring thing is something I call paint a bag, okay, using a stencil. This came from Jody, one of our regulars here, and she sent me a link, which I have in the show notes below, to something called DIY Donald Robertson inspired handbags. And I watched this, and basically it was some kind of morning show or whatever, and this segment was on YouTube, and this woman was showing how you can take a plain handbag and a stencil and do a really upbeat, modern, trendy design literally in minutes with a little bit of paint. And it was kind of gorgeous, and it was very artsy looking. And she shows you how to use the stencil without, if you can't paint, it doesn't matter. It's very easy technique. So I got thinking about this, and I might give this a try on one of my blend bags at some point in time. Make one. Now, you'd have to make it out of a material that's going to accept paint for this kind of thing. And so you want something that's kind of soft, because when the paint dries, you don't want it to crack. And a tote bag or something's kind of loose, but I'm sure I could figure out something to do this with. But it's just a cool idea. And I'm thinking, you can go to places like the Goodwill, thrift shops, things like that, and pick up, an old purse, an old leather purse or something like that. And you could probably modernize it by doing a technique like this. So, if you can get an old purse for $5 or $10 somewhere that's in decent shape, but you want to make it look like a designer bag, this technique could probably work. So it's really interesting. So check out the link. And maybe you've got some old handbags sitting around. I know my mother used to have all kinds of old handbags. For some reason, women seem to have a lot of purses. You might be able to dig an old handbag out of your closet that you haven't used in years and give it new life using this technique. Just an idea. Okay. Oh yeah, and just before I leave that, the other thing I got thinking about is this same technique could be used on an art journal page or scrapbooking page as well, because she shows how to use, this woman in the video, how to use a stencil to create an artistic effect with only a brush, a paintbrush, and some paint, and it's just where you throw the strokes, kind of a thing on it. So do check out that link. Okay, so that brings me to What's in my drawers this week? And I'm going to talk about punch boards. So, what's in my drawers this week? Punch boards. Now, I showed you a few weeks ago the number of hand punches that I have. Well, it doesn't end with the small ones. I started investing in the We Are Memory Keepers series of punch boards. They first came out with these large punches. I forget what they called these, mini 8 punch. And basically doilies. They make doilies. Like this kind of thing. And there's different sizes. Very expensive. They were about $25 plus a piece. And I've got 3 or 4 of them. Now I do think that I bought these in a surplus store where I got them for a little less money. How much have I used these? Never. Really? I've never done it. I mean, you know, once you've made a doily, you've made a doily kind of a thing. And you can buy packages of paper doilies cheap at the dollar store if you're going to use those in, you know, your background pages or whatever for an art journal. But I didn't stop there. I think what really got me going was, and let me find it here, I think this was my first real punch board. This one makes envelopes. And it makes them in various sizes. Now, it's kind of an ingenious little device because everything is marked on here. You cut a piece of cardstock or pattern paper, you put it in here, you follow the markings, and away you go, and you've got an envelope. And I found that actually quite handy. I did use this one quite a bit. When I was making a lot of my own cards and things like that, this definitely was a companion piece to have. So this one I loved, and I think this is the one that really got the whole punch board craze with We Are Memory Keepers going, because they came out with other things, and I'll show you. They decided that to go along with cards, you should have boxes. So they came out with this device. And this one was quite good as well. It made various boxes all the way up to, I believe, is this in centimeters or is this in, no, this is inches, 10.2 by 10.2 by 10.2 box, which isn't bad. Again, you made it out of cardstock or out of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, and it did a pretty good job. But then they decided they were going to come out with other box punches. So this one makes these kind of boxes, the long, thin type of box. This one makes the kind of boxes that have like the accordion ends to them. And then, of course, you need a pillow box as well. So they came out with all 3 of those. They also came out with, I'm looking for it here, another accessory to go with making the envelopes. They came out with this envelope notcher, you know, so you could get those notches in the bottom of the envelope, or, you know, in the back of it. So they came out with that. So that really goes with the envelope maker. Well, then they didn't stop. These became so popular that they decided to branch out from envelopes and from boxes. And they came out with this little device. Now, for those of us that owned all the other box punch boards, this one was a little bit redundant, but it did make envelopes, it did make bows, and it did make boxes. And all the details are on this little flip out, and it works really well. So basically, this punch replaced about 3 other punches all in one. And they got a little bit more elaborate in the way that these things worked, but again, all very easy to use. But wait, there's more, because, you know, you see a theme starting up here, you know, sort of a party theme, you know, gift boxes and nice envelopes and things like that, and bags. One of those punches I just showed you would make decorative bags. So let's keep the party moving, they came out with the banner punch board. Now this one, as it says, creates banners. And it creates them in two different styles, pointy ones and then ones that look like little flagged banners. He even punches the holes so you can string it up. Great, very colorful, very festive. But what's better than a banner? How about a banner that says happy birthday? So that's when they came out with the alphabet punch board. And this makes squared looking letters and numbers, the entire alphabet, all the numbers you want, and funny, all of these ones that you punch out of here will fit very nicely in the center of your banner pieces. So there you go. They've got your complete party kit handled. But there's more. What would a party be without flowers? So they came out with the flower punch board. And this one made really cute flowers and in various sizes. So you can create a whole bouquet of of flowers for your party. And if that's not enough, if it's a kid's party, what do kids love? They love windmills. And so this little device created windmills, and not just single propeller windmills. It would do a double as well. It even came with accessory kit with long straw-like handles that you could mount the pinwheel. These, I call them windmills, but they're pinwheels. You could mount the pinwheels on these and away they'd go. So again, great for parties. You see the theme here. Now they did decide to make some punch boards that were for more utility type purposes. So the tab punch board makes tabs. And not only does the tab punch board make tabs, it makes little mini file folders. Or you can use them on larger file folders just for the tab notch. And then for the scrapbookers, they came out with the frame maker, the frame punch board. So it would it would cut various sizes of frames in various thicknesses, even ones that look like Polaroids. So again, here they are, giving you something that's going to help make your scrapbooks and cards look really great and very easy. They did come out with a little device that actually takes washi tape and allows you, it's a punch, allows you to make little pointy ends on it. I have to say that out of most of these punch boards, I think this one's the most useless. Quite frankly, it's the most useless. In fact, I never got to work quite right. It has these plates and that, and honestly, I forget how to use it. But really, you can do the same thing with a pair of scissors. So now they're scraping to the bottom of the barrel, you would think. But no, they are not scraping to the bottom of the barrel. Then they came out a few months ago with this, the square punch board. This makes squares and rectangles in various sizes really easy. They even show you a little picture down here. And actually, I got it because I thought I could do sort of a mosaic effect on a scrapbook page or as a background for art journaling page. I've had this now for probably 6 months or longer, and I haven't used it. I used it once, basically, just to see how it worked. And the last one, and this is the one I use the most, and I keep it in this little box because it has lots of little accessories. This is a punch for making spiral bound journals or 3-hole punch or square punch. So that's why I have this little box full of little goodies, because each of these punches does a certain type of hole depending on what you're using. Now it was meant to go with planners, and they call it the planner punch board, and it does work very well. And this is one that I actually use all the time because I like to put things into my agendas little cards. I actually use the Project Life cards because I've got hundreds of those. Oh, that's another good one, future reference for what's in my drawers. So I use this basically once a week when I'm setting up my agenda for the week. And I keep all little pieces in this little plastic box. So you can see I have quite a few of the punches. Now, they have come out with a few others that I'm not interested in, but this company, We Are Memory Keepers, comes out with some very neat little machines all the time, or little tools. So I just ordered this morning their latest tool, which is called a journal guide. And essentially, it's a type of ruler that allows you to, draw points, make letters, draw circles, things like that, all in your journal. And I'm thinking that it may come in handy for a few other applications that I have in mind. So I ordered it. Now, are these cheap? No, they are not cheap. What you're looking at here, plus everything else that I've shown you, probably I've spent over $500 or $600 on these punches over the years. What do I do with them now? Nothing. They sit in a drawer. So that's what's in my drawers this week. I swear, one day I'm just going to take the things that I talk about and what's in my drawers, take all those items out, and force myself to use them all in one project and see what happens. I don't know, bit of a challenge, I suppose. Challenge with myself. Okay, so events in the past week. Not a whole lot's been happening. Excuse me. It always happens. Nose runs during a vlog. And my mother is still in the hospital. We are waiting for her next move, wherever that will be. She did get sick this week. She said she was sick. She thought it was something she ate. That's kind of ironic considering my mother doesn't eat. Funny thing was, though, she said she felt like her stomach after they had meatballs or something and in the hospital. And she threw up, apparently. And then she got constipated. I hope you're not eating while watching me for this. So anyways, nobody else was affected, though. And, they all had sort of the same food, so I'm not sure about that. But anyways, it did affect her. She's better now. Didn't last all that long. But of course, she was then making an excuse that, no, she didn't really feel like eating anything again because her stomach was still a little upset and she was, afraid it might cause a problem. I've discussed my mother's problem with food before. I said she's anorexic-ish, I guess, my diagnosis. But I don't know. It upsets me when this is, because I thought a week ago she was actually changing her attitude and, things were looking up. I should never get my hopes up on stuff like this because I will always be disappointed. Now she's back at it again. She's complaining about this. She's complaining about that. Yeah, she's been in the hospital now. This is the early part of the 7th week in there. Yeah, she's getting a little bored, although she's got her TV set. And that's, if she was in her apartment, all she'd be doing all day long is sitting on the couch watching TV. So all she does now is lay in the bed, watch TV. Now they do get her up some days, and now there was last week they were dressing her, or helping her dress and whatnot, getting her around in a wheelchair and things like that, which I thought was really good. But the last few times I've gone in, she's been in bed, she hasn't been dressed, she's in the hospital gown again, and the whole bit. So I don't know what's going on, but what I suspect is that she's just going back to her old ways, and so don't get my hopes up. Anyways, I guess the sickness has passed. I discussed this extensively yesterday on Stephen and Walter's Live, and people were suggesting that maybe she's looking for attention and things like that. And oh yes, that's part of it. I don't know. I don't know if she was genuinely sick or whether she had it up here that she was going to be sick and she was using it as an excuse for attention. She's bitching about some of the nursing staff again. You know, it's just, to be honest, I hate going over to the hospital to see her because everything that comes out of her mouth is a criticism. It's bitching about this isn't right. She's a cranky old lady, quite frankly. Yeah, this is not the best situation, but you know why she's there, you know, and we're waiting. So I don't know. We've kind of put any plans we might have on hold while my mother's in the hospital, and that could be quite a while. And honestly and truly, I don't even want to go over to the hospital to visit her. And I know that sounds bad, but that's just the point. And I go over, we don't spend long because what are we going to do? We go over, we talk to her, but there's nothing to talk about. There's other people that go to visit her too, and other people who sort of call. And when we don't go over, I call her, and it's the same on the phone as it is when you visit her. I always open my mouth and say, so is there anything you need? And she always comes up with something. Well, I need some mints or this and that. Okay, fine. I go. I get her these things. You know, I do all of this. I'm just getting worn down emotionally by all of this. And is it going to get better? No, it's not going to get better. So anyways, I don't know. I know a lot of you out there probably have gone through this as well. With your own parents and things like that. And it could be a lot worse. I keep trying to say that, you know, other people have it a lot worse than this. So, you know, shut up, suck it up, kind of a thing. But nevertheless, and I'm just venting right now, it is wearing me out. So, and it's also starting to make me become a little bit cold about the whole thing, just like whatever, and just move on. But it's this guilt that you feel. Like yesterday, we were going to go over yesterday. It was Sunday. Walter didn't get up too early. I was doing other things. We were going to do Stephen and Walter live. I just didn't feel like it. So maybe we'll go over today. I'm thinking maybe we won't go over today. Maybe we'll go over tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tuesday, and lately we've been like going out and doing our shopping and things on Tuesday, you know, and going for lunch, and we could go over then. You know, it's kind of like kill several birds with one stone kind of a deal. I don't know. I don't know. She's being looked after, and that's the good thing. So anyways, enough of this. So the update on my mother, because I know some of you asked me about this, and I appreciate you asking me this. But I'm boring you to tears right now, so I'm going to stop. Okay, moving on. What else is coming up? Well, it's the long weekend. We have another long weekend. The first weekend in August is what we call the civic holiday. It's a weird holiday, though, because it's not a statutory, so everything is open for business as usual. Banks aren't, liquor stores aren't on the Monday. That makes it a long weekend. But traditionally, this is a weekend in the middle of the summer kind of a thing, and people often start their holidays then, or go off to their cottages, or whatever. We don't have anything planned, but I think Walter's getting a little antsy because we really haven't done anything this summer. Well, mainly because, you know, my mother's in the hospital, so that's one thing. He did mention yesterday, you know, maybe going to east of here to an area called Prince Edward County, which there's a lot of wineries there and things like that. Maybe we'll do a day trip. I don't know, kind of a thing. I imagine my sister is starting her holidays soon, so she'll be gone to her husband's family's cottage probably for a week or two. I don't know, which means that she won't be around to visit my mother to fill in the gap when I'm not there. So that's a new thing. But, you know, she works too, so she deserves holidays. You know, I don't resent that fact. You know, I'm retired, so every day's a holiday, so to speak. But, you know, so we have nothing planned. Don't know what we're going to do. Who knows? maybe we should go on a little jaunt around in the country out here, things, and I videotape it, maybe make a special video or something. So, because I've had some of you ask me on Stephen Walter Live, you know, to show you more of our area, more of our country kind of a thing, especially from the people who don't live in North America. And maybe that's something we could do as well. I don't know. Everything is up in the air. You can't plan too far ahead because of the situation with my mother. So basically we put our lives on hold to a certain extent. Okay, and I said I was going to talk about my mother again. It just led all roads lead back to my mother, it seems. Okay, so that's it for this week. Don't know if I'll have many other videos this week. I keep saying I got to make some technique videos, but my heart hasn't been there for that. It's been more into the quilting, as you know, but whatever. So, hope I didn't bore you too much to death today. And, oh, didn't have a person of interest, but we never have a person of interest, so whatever. Send me your thoughts about things. Good, bad. I don't want the negative ones. I deal enough with that. But anyways, if you got suggestions for things you'd like me to do or see in my vlogs or whatever as videos, hey, go ahead. Send me an email. Put a message in the comments below. Let me know what you want to see, and I'll see what I can do about it. Okay? So I hope you have a good week, and we'll talk to you for Stephen and Walter Live on Sunday again at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if not then, I'll have my vlog out next Monday as well. Bye-bye for now.